Sharma, a physician from the AIMS chain in India.
Hi,
I haven't met Anil. How you doing, Anil?
hi, John. Hi, John. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
a lot of people don't know what the AIMS hospital chain is. Uh, it's my understanding it's 9 or 10 big hospitals spread out over India that are kind of like the backbone of healthcare in India. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Thank you, Dr. Ashish, for wonderful presentation, and thank you, John, for creating this platform, wonderful platform for knowledge sharing. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Anil Kumar Sharma. I am working as faculty in All India Institute of Medical Science, Raipur, which is one of the largest hospital in central India and one of the apex center in country. I am not able to share my screen, John.
Yes. Have you done this before, Neil? I thought you did.
Yeah. I've
Yeah, you
presented.
see that at the bottom is a screen share of your
Yes.
of the Zoom. You say share screen. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. This is
Okay.
coming.
Yeah, you want to make it bigger, right? There you go. You know what you're doing. Yep.
Yeah.
Very
Now
good.
it's okay.
Yes, very good.
Okay. So we'll be talking about endoscopic endonasal approach for anterior skull-base meningiomas. As we all know, skull-base meningiomas represent some of the most complex pathology as encountered by us neurosurgeons, and on account of their depth, invasion, and vascularity, texture, and in relation to neurovascular structures. So in this, we'll discuss the technical nuances for performing extended endoscopic endonasal approach in a stepwise manner with the illustration from cadaveric dissections, and which will be supplemented further by a surgical video and clinical case presentation. So we all know skull-base meningiomas surgery has been transformed by development of endoscopic endonasal approach. In the last few decades, advances in endoscopic skull-base surgery have allowed for improved overall patient outcome in patient, and different technologies have helped us, like neuronavigation system, advancement in robust dural reconstruction technique, instrumentation, improved instrumentation. These factors has largely contributed to the growth of the surgery. So why do we need this approach? Question arises: why do we need this approach? Already we have been operating these kind of tumors, anti-skull-base meningiomas, with transcranial surgery, and with the development of suprabro approaches. So there are certain factors, certain advantages and disadvantages with this kind of approach. So extensive soft tissue retraction and transcranial approach, as we all know, manipulation of neurovascular structures, and limited access to central corridor, subchiasmatic space, cellular space, and perforators. So that were the main problem with transcranial approaches. So what are the advantages? Their lack of brain retraction. We don't have to retract brain. We can directly access midline lesions. There is minimal manipulation of complex neurovascular structures, per se, carotid artery, anterior communicating complex, and optic apparatus and nerve. And there is no skin incision, comfortable recovery. And on top of that, it provides a wider closer view of surgical field, which allow better exposure. And we can visualize blind corners and detailed visualization of main neurovascular structures. So these are the main advantages. And we can, and in particular cases of meningioma, we can interrupt the vascular supply at the beginning of operation. If we are going by transcranial approach, we cannot interrupt vascular supply, which mainly come from dura. And there are high likelihood of curing, at least theoretically, curing these meningiomas, not only the dura, but also bone at the base of tumor is removed during this approach. And it ensure complete removal of remnant that lie below the optic nerve. And it's that otherwise that would have been very difficult to remove with a transcranial approach, and facilitate complete bilateral optic canal decompression in case of optic canal is involved. and bone can be removed. So now if we come to indication, what are the indications and contraindication for skull base meningiomas approaching by an extended endoscopic endonasal approach? So frankly speaking, there as of now there are no contraindication for approaching these lesions by extended endoscopic approach. But there are certain limitations that we need to take into account. Radiologically, we need to study radiology very carefully, and surgeon experience has to be taken into account. These are very two important factors. So as per se, lesion which are more than 3 centimeter extending laterally beyond optic nerve, encasement of neurovascular structures. So these are relative contraindication for these kind of approaches. So virtually any kind of lesion in anterior skull base, middle and posterior cranial fossa can be approached with endoscopic skull base approaches. And close attention must be paid to lateral extent of tumor, and as I said earlier, surgeon experience is very pertinent in this kind of approaches. So transplanum approach. So transplanum approach is defined by removal of planum and part of tuberculum celli. So what are the lateral limitations and anterior posterior limitation and sagittal? So lateral, this is dictated by lateral OCR, and on bilaterally we need to expose from carotid to carotid, and anterior posteriorly sagittally it is dictated by involvement of by tumor extension. So these are cadaveric study images from cadaveric study basically. So here we can see what is the view after bilateral sphenoidotomy and posterior generous posterior septectomy. So here we can see panoramic view of sella and planum and tuberculum sella. This is clival rhesus. This is part of sella. This is chiasmatic sulcus. This is carotid protruberance. This is lateral opticocarotid rhesus. This is medial opticocarotid rhesus. And this is optic protruberance. This is part of planum. This is tuberculum celli. So this is the panoramic view after bilateral sphenoidotomy. And this is, here we have taken advantage of cadaveric dissection. That much exposure is actually not required for doing these kind of surgeries. Here, this is the view after removing bone. Here we can see dura, sella, and this is clinodal carotid, this is optic canal, and this is planum dura, and this is limbus. So our exposure is from lateral OCR to lateral OCR, and this sagittal plane exposure is dictated by involvement of how much tumor, how much part of this bone we need to remove, means extent of tumor. If tumor is not involving sella, so we don't have to remove this part of sella. In fact, this can work as a guide to surgeon, like a true north pole. So this is again, we have taken advantage of cadaveric dissection. This is the panoramic view after removing dura mater. This is pituitary gland. This is carotids. This is carotid on both sides. This is chiasm. This is optic nerve. And here we can see ophthalmic artery bilaterally. This is ophthalmic artery this side. This is ophthalmic artery. Posterior circulation also seen, basilar artery. This is anterior cerebral artery and anterior communicating complex. This is gyrus rectus. So here we can see panoramic view after removal of dura. And this is the view we should see after removal of our tumor. This is the view. This is pituitary gland and the dura mater over there. This is pituitary stalk. Here we can see carotid bilaterally. This is chiasm. This is optic nerve bilaterally. This is ACA acon complex. This is gyral rectus. This is recurrent artery of ulnar on both sides. So this is the view we should see after removal of tumor. So now coming to general surgical strategy, I mean, what is our goal? What we are doing by endoscopic approach? So basically, by doing extended endoscopic approach, we are converting a skull base meningioma to a convexity meningioma. In convexity meningioma, what we do? First, we approach bone, then dura mater, and then tumor. Here also, we are following same strategy, sequential and systematic dissection. in layers. First, we are approaching bone, then dura mater, and then capsule, and then we are internally decompressing. So this is the actually basic advantage of this surgery. In beginning of this surgery, only we can devascularize the tumor. So once the approach is performed, the skull base as tumors are virtually converted into convexity meningiomas. And all principles of micro dissections, that all those principles are same, like transcranial surgery. So this is one clinical case. This is one large tumor around 3 to 3.2 centimeter, uh, uh, rising from a part of plenum, and tumor is compressing, approaching to third ventricle superiorly. And here we can see it seems like vessel is encased, but when I evaluated properly in console, these vessels were pushed aside. They were not involved. So here we can see vessels. So tumor is homogeneously enhancing, large tumor 3 to 3 to 3.5, and it's filling the pituitary fossa also, posterior reaching up to posterior fossa. So this is surgical video of this case. Anybody has any question, please? So this is surgical video of this case. This same tumor preoperative and postoperative picture, postoperative MRI at 6 months, showing complete removal. So basically our procedure start, here we can see sphenoid ostia. This is natural opening in sphenoid. So basically our procedure is this nasal, we have skipped nasal stage. Directly we are coming to sphenoidal stage. So here we are seeing natural entry in sphenoid, that is sphenoid ostia. So bilateral sphenoid ostia need to be removed circumferentially. An anterior inferior wall of sphenoid sinus, that has to be removed. So this is the view after removing, doing generous sphenoidotomy and posterior septectomy. And here drilling being done of tuberculum and plenum part. And we need to do drilling with the gentle and round burr with copious irrigation. Copious irrigation is required because the heat generated by this procedure can injure optic nerve. So this is drilling being done of tuberculum and cellar part. And once one particular difference we need to understand while doing routine pituitary surgeries. In pituitary surgery, sella is widened, so cellar floor will be quite thin down. Just sometimes that will be like XL, and just we need to take it out. In particularly in case of meningiomas, bone will be hyperostotic, it will be vascular. So we need to do sometimes we need to do extensive drilling for these kind of tumors. So drilling is being done and bone has been removed. There is dural opening here. Dura has been opened, and other thing, this part of intercavernous sinus, we need to take it control in beginning of surgery only, because otherwise later it will keep some bleeding will be there throughout the procedure. So here tumor has been seen after dural opening. You can see tumor over here, and tumor is being being decompressed with the Cavitron ultrasonic aspirator. Sorry, sir, some tumor is being decompressed with the ultrasonic aspirator here. So here we can see anterior cerebral arteries here. Anterior cerebral arteries are coming into picture. Here we can see A1, A2, and ACOM. So there is a sharp dissection. We need to do sharp dissection. This arachnoid bands are being cut. Here we can see optic nerve here. There we can see how this severely it's compromised and stressed optic nerve. So tumor is being decompressed with the combination of sharp dissector. Both ACA and recurrent artery of ulnar bilaterally are beautifully seen. So tumor is being decompressed internally. Here we can see optic chiasm. This again sharp dissection is being done. So we need to dissect extra arachnoidally all around the tumor after decompression. So tumor is being removed from opposite side after sharp dissection. There's some problem actually. Continuously, it's tumor is being dissected. There we can see perforator over there. So we need to dissect from that perforator also. Tumor is being delivered from opposite side. There again we have to do sharp dissection. So basically, what are the tricks for this kind of surgery? We need to decompress internally. Vascularity will be decreased significantly as we are approaching. We are devascularizing tumor and at the beginning of surgery only. So here beautifully we can see optic nerve, optic chiasm, and bilateral A2, A1, proximal AC, anterior cerebral artery, distal anterior cerebral artery, and anterior communicating artery, and both side recurrent artery of ulnar. Here tumor is being delivered after dissection. Tumor has been removed from this side. So what we saw after this cadaveric dissection, that again same picture we should see here after complete removal of tumor. So we are seeing same picture. We can compare from those images. We can see bilateral ACA, A1, a bilateral A2, whole AC apparatus, bilateral optic nerve, chiasm, pituitary stalk. So all those structures we can see here. Any question? So this is the surgical video. Here we can see both optic nerve, this side, a whole tumor has been removed, and this here we can see part of frontal lobe, varus rectus, and bilateral ACA, recurrent artery of ulnar on both sides, and both A2. So these are pre-op images, post-op images. MRI at 6 months, there is no residual or recurrence at 6 months with improved visual outcome. These are images, post-op images of axial and coronal section. The post-op at 6 months. So take-home message is we need to understand intracranial when we compare intracranial and endoscopic approaches. So it's not about superiority or inferiority. We need to understand that it's not about superiority or inferiority. It's about right indication. Right indication, right patient. We need to incorporate surgeon experience in that. The key to success of this minimally access but maximally aggressive is in careful patient selection. The ideal approach for the patient should be selected, taking into account the tumor anatomy with special attention to size and lateral extension and surgeon experience. And of course, robust dural reconstruction, we do multi-layered reconstruction using fascial arta and pedicle nasoseptal flap. And pedicle, these vascular flap, they have dramatically reduced CSF leak postoperatively. And then this, as we all know, growing interest is over major progress over recent year, and a large number of anatomical studies and robust dural reconstruction technique. All those things have supplemented, and more and more people are choosing for this kind of approach. So what should be our take-home message? We should choose our patient. We should take into account radiology, tumor more than 3 to 3.5%, at least in beginning, in initial stages. When we should be very careful while choosing patient. As such, there is no contraindication. If surgeon is more experienced, he can basically we divide this kind of tumor into three groups. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Basically, we divide this kind of tumor in three groups. One, when where there is cortical cuff is present. If cortical cuff is present, we can go ahead with the endoscopic surgery. If there is no cortical cuff and whereas neurovascular structures are there on tumor capsule, but those can be dissected, we can go ahead with endoscopic surgery. And if neurovascular structure are encased, then that is a relative contraindication. That is relative not absolute contraindication for going these kind of approaches. And we need to take into account how much tumor is extending beyond bilateral optic corridor. We need to take into account carotid anatomy. If there is a kissing carotid, we cannot operate by this approach. So all those factors we need to take into account. And as I said earlier, there is no superiority as of now. Lot of studies are coming up. Lot of literature is supporting one or other approaches, but there are a lot of study has to come. We need to see long-term outcome of endoscopic extended endoscopic approaches. We need to see long-term outcome, and as I said, surgeon experience definitely matters in these kind of approaches. So, any questions?
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Anil. Okay, you can, if you have a question, you can either ask it or text it. We found from experience that sometimes people are more comfortable with texting, which certainly is welcome. What percentage of your practice is endoscopy when you're practicing full time, Anil?
Yeah, I'm practicing as a faculty in All India Institute of Medical Science, Raipur here, and with particular interest in complex skull-base and endoscopic surgeries, and complex CVJ surgeries.
Okay. I don't know India. How far are you from New Delhi?
Yeah, it's just 1.5 hour flight from Delhi.
Oh, okay. So not too far.
A lot of flights are there from Delhi.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, I'd like to thank Dr. Neil, and then we're going to edit this, and we'll send you the edited copy.
Hello.
Yes. We'll send you the edited copy, Doctor.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.